Most people's spiritual journey starts with some lucky guesses, or a few too many coincidences. Mine started with spooky butt stuff. FBI, open up! Yo ho ho, bagheads, it's your boy BaggiBoi, and in this month's video, I'm gonna be sharing some of my supernatural stories that just can't be explained away using facts and logic. A couple months ago, I made a video about my mom's psychic abilities. You guys seem to really like it, so here's some more psychic action. If you're not up to date, part 1 will be in the card above and description below. All caught up? Let's get into it. Most people's spiritual journey starts with some lucky guesses, or a few too many coincidences. Mine started with spooky butt stuff. FBI, open up! What do otherworldly spirits have to do with my glutes, you may be pondering? Well, I was lying on my back in bed watching some YouTube, when all of a sudden, my butt started to itch. That itch turned into a ravaging burning sensation that encompassed both of my plush, pasty hemispheres. At first, I thought it was the tag on my shorts causing the intimate irritation. But the pain became so searing within the next 30 seconds, I decided it would be in my best interest to see what the heck was going on down there. Lo and behold, scratches aplenty were covering my dummy thick cheeks. These scratches continued to appear on my body for the next couple of weeks, always appearing at the most inopportune times and following a strict pattern. The affected area would start to itch, then start burning, and then the skin would raise in a 3-clawed pattern. Sometimes they would even break the skin and start bleeding. My stepdad thought I was faking it, and I mean, I don't blame him. But soon, the scratches began to appear in a place I couldn't possibly reach, between my shoulder blades in a perfectly straight line. This all came to a head when I was telling my friend about the scratches during school, and my arms started to itch.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
And then BAM! A 3-clawed scratch materialized out of thin air on my forearm right before my friend's unfortunate eyes. Needless to say, Nosferatu was getting a little cocky, and something had to be done. My mom took me into a spiritual healing place, and the psychic there told me that my so-called demon was actually a dead teenage girl who was scratching me to get a reaction. Take that as you will, but if I were a ghost, I wouldn't be spending my afterlife following around an anxious 14-year-old. Get a life! After the spirit was exorcised, the scratching just stopped. Maybe I've got super selective allergies, but I think it's safe to assume the exorcism worked. Speaking of exorcisms, a couple days after attending VidCon 2018, my mom took me to a private reading with a psychic in Burbank. During the appointment, she told me some of my dead relatives were following me around, and described not only their appearances, but their actions as well. But then, she said something very, very interesting. Did you know you've got Walt Disney following you around? Yo! That statement broke me. Not because, hello, Walt Disney, but because she had no idea about my channel or passion for animation. Not only that, but I had just gone to Disneyland the day before. This statement blew away any of my remaining skepticisms. Yeah, but Zed, Disneyland's a popular attraction. But my sweet, naive baghead, the reading's not over yet. The majority of the appointment was spent discussing my future plans, until the end when she brought up a name. I see someone named Kurt having a hand in your animation journey. Do you know a Kurt? I knew one Kurt, that Kurt being Kurt Richey. Now, Kurt and I aren't exactly chums, more so mild acquaintances. We made eye contact at VidCon, and that's about as far as that went. I spent the next month racking my brain, trying to figure out how Kurt Richey fit into my future with animation. By now, it was August, and I've mostly forgotten about this dilemma, up until one fateful day. My mom was having a yard sale out on the front lawn. I made my way to the front yard, where there was a young man talking with my mom. When they finished chatting, he turned and introduced himself. Hey Zed, I'm Kurt, and I do backgrounds for insert name of super popular kids cartoon reboot from the 2000s on a mainstream animation television network.
You what?
I can't remember how the rest of the conversation went, except for the fact that I was practically bursting at the seams. But it ended with him giving me the name and email of the company's internship consult, and telling me, when you're 16, you can apply for a summer internship. Just send them a link to your channel, and you'll be good to go. To think that the key to my future was a shabby college student living in an apartment building across the street still boggles my mind. Now, away from mind-blowing revelations, allow me to talk about my grade 9 year, a year of awkward, crushing confessions and worst vacation evers. That year, we had an oxymoron of a science teacher. She believed in both the scientific method and the supernatural, and would tell the class stories about the ghost named Louise living in her house. One particular class, she told us about how Louise would leave dimes tails up as a sign that she was there, and how sometimes she'd look at, let's say, a shelf, go do something, and come back to see a dime tails up. That afternoon, I went out for lunch. When I reached down for my wallet, I saw a dime on the candy rack, tails up, sitting on a Reese's peanut butter cup. Flash forward to this year, when my English teacher mentioned her own obsession with dimes and the supernatural. At the end of the class, I went up and told her my own dime story. We had a good laugh, and as I was walking out, I slipped my hands into my pockets. And then I felt it. As I pulled the dime out of my pocket, it was facing me, tails up. Bagheads, I hadn't worn these pants in months. My teacher thought I placed it there prior to our conversation, but the surprise on my face told otherwise. I have plenty of supernatural stories that I could tell you, but that's about as many as I can fit into a 7-minute video. Moral of the story? Avoid demonic possession, find yourself a Kurt, and stock up on dimes. Who knows? They might come in handy someday. Hey Bagheads, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Do you have your own supernatural stories? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. If you want to be in the young card, submit your fan art to zlastname@gmail.com or throw it to me on my Twitter or Instagram. That's it for now. See you around!